Hi everyone. Today I'm going to walk you through a simple but powerful way to strengthen student research using library databases. This is something that directly supports our TEKS while also making your life easier as a classroom teacher. Let's be honest. When we assign research, most students go straight to Google. You probably go to Google also. They often grab the first thing they see, and we end up with weak sources and surface level understanding. This session is about fixing that in a realistic and doable way. So I want you to think about your students. What's the very first thing that they do when you say research? Most of the time it's Google. I know when I was in the classroom, my students were always searching things up. And that's exactly where we can start shifting their habits. So you can see on the screen, instead of Google, we want to shift more to database libraries. So our objective today is by the end of this session, you'll be able to identify at least 2 database tools and walk away with one strategy that you can use immediately in your classroom. So what exactly are library databases? Library databases are curated sources, meaning everything is vetted and appropriate. Many are written at student reading levels and even include tools like audio support, highlighting, and built-in citations. So you can see here is an example of Britannica Kids. We want to make sure that it is all age appropriate and it's curated sources instead of just random things off of Google that might not even be accurate. So this strategy directly supports our TEKS, especially in reading and research. When students use library databases, they're not just finding information, they're practicing skills like identifying key ideas, summarizing, and using evidence. Don't those sound familiar? So this isn't adding something new. It's strengthening what we're already required to teach. It also increases the quality of the text students are interacting with, which leads to stronger comprehension overall. This also aligns with national standards from the American Association of School Librarians, specifically the Shared Foundation of Inquire. This standard focuses on students asking questions, evaluating sources, and using information effectively. When we guide students to use databases instead of random internet searches, we're directly supporting these skills and helping them become more thoughtful and independent learners. This is where the role of the school librarian, like myself, becomes essential, not just as a resource provider, but as more of an instructional leader. So on the left, this is what students typically see when they use Google. Multiple links, mixed quality, and often overwhelming. You can see that my search was hurricanes. When I just typed in hurricanes to Google, it immediately brought up sports scores for the team, the Hurricanes. Then, when I went a little bit further, you can see down below where it brought up Wikipedia pages, things that people are saying about hurricanes, nothing accurate. It's very hard for students to see curated things and to see vetted topics when there's just a bunch thrown at them. They end up clicking on that top source or the one that looks the best to them and go from there. And then, as we all know, that's when we get weak information, weak resources, and then their research projects are weak. So on the right, this is a library database. I used Britannica for Kids. It's organized, easier to read, and designed specifically for student understanding. Even visually, we can see which one better supports comprehension. So this shift helps move students from just searching for information to actually understanding it. So you have your TEKS as well as comprehension and finding the main idea and your key details. They're able to do this much easier using a database than just off of the random Google searches. So during this session, I want you to do the same comparison activity that you would do with your students. So looking at both sources, look at both sources, and then I want you to discuss what is more reliable and easier for students to understand. Then in your classroom, students would take that next step by identifying the main idea, summarizing key details, and using text evidence. So I'll give you a little bit of time to look at both of my examples, and then I want you to look at the sheet in front of you that has your library database selections, and you can choose one of those, and then you'll talk with your partner about the comparison of the two databases, or Google and your database, and then which one better supports understanding. So I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. And then I want you just to remember that we would take this a step further in the classroom, and that's when students are really working to find the main idea, summarize their key details, and use text evidence. And that way they are able to apply all of those TEKS to their research project, paper, whatever it may be. So now that you've had some guided practice and you've seen what you would want your students to do, and what how you would take it a step further in the classroom with your actual students, this is where the strategy really fits into your classroom. So you can use it during research projects, while modeling a main idea, or when teaching students how to use text evidence. And the best part is it's flexible. You can do this as a whole group, with partners, or independently, depending on your lesson. It's very easy to switch it up and do it differently the next time, but they're still getting the same key resources and same application. So before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to think about one way that you could use a library database in your classroom this week. So you can use from the sheet in front of you, or you can use the ones that we used together today. But I want you to think about how you would use this and reflect on it, and then we're going to share our ideas with a partner. So I heard some really great conversation. Some extension opportunities for this activity would be, like, if you would like to take this a step further, there are several easy ways to extend this strategy. You can collaborate with me, your school librarian, explore additional databases for different subjects, or even create a research center in your classroom using these resources. It's all really great, especially as we wind down to the end of the year and we're all doing those research projects. You could have a whole little section in your room for specific research and using databases there. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought of, when we give students better tools, we get better thinking. By simply changing where students begin their research, we can improve comprehension, build stronger habits, and support the skills we're already teaching every day. So as you leave today, think about one small shift you can make tomorrow and start there. Thanks so much for participating today.